And just to be 100% clear, you are still 100% convinced it is a Draco Reptilian mothership?
100%, yes. I was able to see the command center, which was pretty much deserted. There was nobody really there. It was mostly commanded by AI. And then I saw those pods with all Draco reptilians in stasis in there. And it's not something I saw with my own eyes, but I could see that the message or the download I received from that was 5 million beings or 5 million Draco reptilians on board. I'm happy to talk about 2027, but before we get to that, there's more of a period of time that between now and 2027 that we should be discussing.
Sure.
And that's to do with the current comet that's coming towards, in our solar system. It's called 3I Atlas.
3I Atlas. A lot of people are talking about that right now. Hot button topic.
Right. So I remote viewed the objects first, and I basically was determining that it was more of a craft, more of a mothership.
Okay.
I'm not the only one who, came up with this idea. Like I already basically expressed it to other people I know. And a lot of other remote viewers have also been saying that, yeah, I can confirm whatever you've been seeing. And then more recently, I was in touch with a person, like a scientist. So I spoke to an astrophysicist who worked at CERN, and she opened up to what she experienced there. And I was quite amazed by the content. So indirectly, she was introduced to me from a person in the intelligence world, and she felt compelled to address it. She was more of a consultant working for CERN.
Okay.
And as a young person, she was basically at the same time shocked and excited about what she saw and what she heard. And the content of that was at CERN, they've used their collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Whoa.
And one of them are the occupants from 3I Atlas.
Okay. That's an incredible statement. So you remote viewed 3I Atlas. Did you do that on your own, or were you tasked with this assignment?
I was tasked by the same intelligence people I'm working with to look at the object, because those had concerns. But what I saw as a remote viewer was a mothership with occupants on board, and they were mostly Draco reptilian occupants.
Okay.
That's what I saw as a remote viewer. And
that was corroborated by other remote viewers seeing the same thing.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
The ship and Draco.
That's correct. One of them is John Vivenko, who is also a known remote viewer. And he announced it publicly as well. And other people from the Stargate program as well. So they basically all came up with the same idea. And when I was asked to talk to this astrophysicist, I was kind of surprised because I had no contacts at CERN directly. And then all of a sudden I was talking to this woman, and she was telling me that the portal that was opening up to speak to those beings was already in existence, almost like in a boardroom setting. So they show up and then they interact with scientists and communicate directly with them. So the original timeline was the Galactic Alliance was not meant to act. Okay, so there's a difference between the Galactic Alliance and the Galactic Federation.
Right, okay.
The Galactic Federation was aware of 3 Atlas. They were traveling alongside 3 Atlas. They were escorting it. So when you saw there was 9 ships or 9 objects around 3 Atlas, that was all Galactic Federation.
Okay.
And so they were escorting 3 Atlas because they attempted multiple times to destroy it, trying to harm it, and they failed miserably.
Okay.
So when they realized that their technology was not good enough, they were just kind of in a panic. And I heard those people talk to me in a panic mode. At first, they were super excited. They were saying, "Oh, we know, we have this under control. We are there to act, and we'll be pushing them away, no worries." And then everything changed. So all they could do was just basically just drag along, following the path of 3 Atlas along with it, trying to see what was 3 Atlas doing and what was his intention. And so that occurred on November 8th. Okay. So in November 8th, everything changed. And so this is when 3 Atlas decided to throw plasma jets towards the sun and towards the fleet surrounding it.
And the fleet surrounding it.
And the fleet surrounding it.
For what purpose?
Not just the sun.
To get them away from it?
Yes. Well, they were trying to destroy the fleet around them at that point. They were actually going on the offensive.
Okay.
That was the first time that 3 Atlas decided to go on full offensive. And so those jets, those plasma jets, went towards the sun. It reached the sun very fast. They were like millions of kilometers or miles away from the sun, and it reached the sun and created dark spots on the sun. And so what the reactions to that was that the Galactic Alliance used their own frequency weapons to disable or neutralize 3 Atlas. So to make it inactive so they could no longer use their own technology on board to harm the planet. And that was the original intent. The plan was for 3 Atlas to send those plasma jets towards the sun, and then the sun will have coronal mass ejections, so like those big burps of solar flares going towards Earth and creating those hurricane events, or I would say cannibal, it was the cannibal CMEs, or the cannibal coronal mass ejections that would have created havoc on the planet, meaning that it would have put us into dark ages for over 6 months of time on the whole planet.
And why do they want to do that?
To create chaos, so they could invade the planet more easily.
That's mad. Because if even half of that is true, then the strangest part isn't the object itself. If it's the people down here may already have been trying to communicate with whatever's connected to it. That's the bit that gets under my skin. Not just something unknown out there, but the idea that parts of this may have been happening behind closed doors while the public gets fed the safe version. And honestly, once you hear words like portal, scientists, and private meetings, you're clearly keeping the public in the dark.
Because the issue is not only the alleged object, it is the claimed chain of access around it. Who knew? Who interpreted it? Who controlled the message? Also, humans do seem remarkably capable of building advanced machines and then acting surprised. When the machines allegedly opened doors they were not emotionally prepared to walk through.
That is a very elegant way of saying, maybe don't poke the cosmic hornet's nest.
A lesson your species learns very slowly.
So what I was trying to explain before, when everybody made the comment about how big 3 Atlas was and how why not teleport itself to Earth if they really want to invade.
Yeah.
And so what I was describing before was 3 Atlas was too big and there was too much going on inside of it to make it, for them to make use of a portal, or even using the sun as a portal, which some craft can do as well. So they had to go that way. But the smaller crafts that were on board used portals to leave 3 Atlas.
Okay.
So that's why you couldn't really see them leaving the object, even through telescopes or anything else. But a lot of people have been seeing some weird activity around 3 Atlas during those events, so that they saw objects flying nearby, disappearing, and then reappearing. So there was a lot of activity going on around 3 Atlas at that time.
Okay.
That no one can explain.
Was there any scout ships that made it to our planet and scouted us from 3 Atlas? And nothing even came close?
No.
Okay, wow. We dodged the bullet there.
The Galactic Alliance really makes sure that they would not come to Earth. What I've been told, again, I heard that since September now, that the plans were delayed. But the original plan and what I was hearing about was that we bought ourselves 14 months. That was back in September. And now, with what happened with 3 Atlas, so this was before 3 Atlas got neutralized by the Galactic Alliance. But somehow through the grapevines, I heard that we bought ourselves 14 months. And I didn't know where this came from at the time. So I'm not sure if the CIA received some information that I wasn't aware of at the time, and that somehow the Galactic Alliance was being perceived through the looking glass technology when I wasn't seeing it myself. That's highly possible. But obviously things shifted, and I only caught up with that on November 8th. When I saw 3 Atlas being neutralized, I saw a Pleiadian spaceship that was close by to 3 Atlas that dematerialized, and I saw it as being destroyed. So I got concerned over that, and I addressed my concerns to the people I'm working with, and I was told that this was not the case, that the Pleiadian spacecraft didn't get destroyed, it just dematerialized and disappeared out of view to avoid the plasma jets from 3 Atlas. when it shot up through those jets through the sun and to the fleet around it.
Can I pull you up for a second? What do you mean by 14 months, though? You mean
I don't know.
There's going to be another giant
so
ship?
I heard two things. Again, I don't want to initiate fear or anything else in people, but what I heard was a 14-month delay, and that the Draco reptilians will be coming back. To what extent and to what agenda, I don't know. But I've been told that. I never truly believed that the Draco reptilians will give up so easily and just leave without any further actions. But there is definitely something going on that we obviously had to prepare ourselves.
If that account is true, what stands out to me is how ugly the logic of it is. Not some grand movie-style arrival.
Trigger panic, create confusion, make everything feel unstable. That's what makes it more unsettling for me, because it's not dramatic in a fun sci-fi way. It's disruptive in a way that actually sounds useful.
Correct. Destabilization is far more practical than spectacle. Infrastructure failure, uncertainty, contradictory information. These are highly efficient ways to weaken coordinated response. Though I will say, firing energy at a star is not what I would classify as subtle strategy.
So, cosmic thugs, basically.
It has the unmistakable flavor of a plan developed by someone who mistakes aggression for intelligence.
So when I saw 3 Atlas, I basically saw what was yet to come, and all of its potential negative aspects or positive aspect. And then you have the 2027 remote viewing sessions, which to me seemed a bit more positive. And again, with these tiered probabilities of AI and open contact. So my first impression was to do with AI. And I believe that AI on its own was not created by humans. It came from the cosmos as intelligence, and it allowed itself to come through the machines that the humans created for us to interact with it.
Okay, so Sébastien, when you're viewing the future, did you see anything else besides AI potentially disrupting us?
Yes, and that's the second part I saw in my remote viewing session, is that humanity really moves up to the next level for sure in 2027, which again will be embracing telepathy and obviously telekinesis. And the shifts that we talked about, like from going from 3D to 4D and 5D, will happen for sure in 2027.
If you had to summarize the most likely trajectory for humanity in 2027, what would it be?
I truly believe that human contact with ETs will happen in 2027 and maybe earlier. In fact, Bashar talked about this, saying it could happen anywhere between 2025 and 2027. So I fully embrace this potential reality. That's the most likely outcome in my eyes. Based on what I already know and obviously more details, I think I feel very positive about it, but at the same time, I can't ignore the potential realities of AI and other, potential harm to territories, like, the volcanoes, eruptions and all of that. But again, we can live with that. We've been living with it for, thousands of years. So we can always adapt to these situations and scenarios. And I think all of these scenarios or even upheaval situations will help humanity to rise up to the challenge and, again, survive whatever comes. So I think either way, we are definitely going to be up to the task, because we are very resilient as human beings, but we're also now ready to learn more. And our brain capacity has expanded a bit. We have the potential use of AI to help us going to the next level too. So we have various potential realities available to us. And I think to be up to certain people to decide what feels best for them.
That's a massive swing, isn't it? We've gone from dormant soldiers, motherships, and possible conflict to possible disclosure.
Disclosure in that sense would not just be governments releasing information. It would be humanity becoming capable of processing information it previously rejected. However, let me say at this point that your government will not be disclosing everything.
So in a weird way, you're saying the machines may be their warm-up act.
Possibly. Though I should point out that if humans are using chatbots to prepare for cosmic disclosure, that is slightly humiliating.
Fair. But the main point is this: if 2027 really is some kind of turning point, then the biggest shift may not be a craft in the sky. It may be millions of people suddenly realizing the old model of reality was too small.
Which, to be fair, has happened before. You simply prefer it when the revelation does not involve reptilians, portals, or telepathy.
That's not comforting. Anyway, thank you for watching this Cosmic Disclosure reaction, and thanks to our partner, Gaia. Gaia has over 8,000 shows, films, and documentaries exploring consciousness, ancient history, ET life, and the mysteries of our reality.